For people who haven't seen you before, how would
All
you
of them.
describe what you do?
I perform stand-up. I perform stand-up comedy in a quite sort of nervous, hesitant and self-deprecating way, just like a lot of other male young comics at this Fringe. But I hopefully do it with enough keen twists of phrase and obscure reference points to make it slightly different, but I don't think that's the case.
Are you heavily influenced by anyone, or is there someone growing up you watched that...
Not really. I watched I don't know. I think it's a bit of a cliched answer, but someone like Simon Amstel I've always loved, partly because I grew up watching him hosting Buzzcocks. So I was a huge sort of music fan, so I loved like all the sort of nerdy references to sort of indie bands, which have long since fallen by the wayside. When I saw him doing stand-up, and he was this like incredibly quick, like sarcastic man who could destroy anyone he wanted on TV, and then opening himself up in a really fragile way on his stand-up. I just think he's a remarkably talented and interesting guy to listen to, and so funny. Someone like Miles Jupp, who's also a wonderful, raconteur is probably the most pretentious word in the world, but again, someone whose shows really weave you in, and there's a sort of narrative. So I'm a keen reader, and it's nice when an hour of stand-up has that same feeling of journey that a good book does, and Miles is just incredible. There's sort of comics that are more than just funny, but I think interesting as well. Someone like Dylan Moran also. So Black Books was my favourite programme when I was a kid, and my parents loved it and would always sit and watch it together. And again, his stand-up, he could just take any topic, and he's just got the most beautiful, casual way of just absolutely summing it up or cutting it apart, and there's no sort of desperation there at all. It's just effortless. I think when I perform stand-up comedy, the effort and the desperation is really quite there for all to see. But to get to that point where you just look so natural on stage, talking, it doesn't feel show-offy, doesn't feel invasive, doesn't feel forced, doesn't feel over-rehearsed, and people just love it. That's where I'd like to get to. I hate the idea of giving too much away, and that sort of the stand-up starts to overtake. We've all seen, I'm sure, like self-deprecating comedians where it's really funny, but it's almost too intense, and you worry about them off stage and stuff. And I wouldn't want it ever to be like that, where people I'd want people to enjoy a sort of charming, endearing, self-deprecating show, but never to there always be enough of a twinkle in the eye that says I'm all okay with this. Most of my show is pretty honest, but again, it's not like an overbearing sort of too much information kind of thing, I think, and there's enough sort of fun embellishments of it around the side to, does that make sense, to make it a bit sort of lighter. So he's sort of honest and self-deprecating, but not too rigidly and intimidatingly so. Still think bit of a shame to have done a languages degree, and I went abroad for a year as well, which I sort of resented because I was then starting to do gigs and I really wanted to be doing more gigs, but that was an amazing opportunity, and I don't want to be one of those people that did sort of a degree which they've completely forgotten by the time they're 25. Anyway, so that's apart from that though, I don't really have any talent.